Good morning. My name is Andrea, and I will be your conference operator today. At this time, I would like to welcome everyone to the TouchStar 6.0 conference call. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. If you should need assistance during the call, please press star, then 0, and an operator will come back online to assist you. Thank you. I would now like to turn the call over to our host, Mr. Chris McMillan, Vice President of National Accounts. Please go ahead, sir.
Welcome, everyone. A couple of house rules before we get going here. All lines are set on mute, so if you have questions, feel free to submit those questions via the QA tab at the top of your screen. We'll attempt to answer those questions at the end of the presentation. If we're not able to get to your question during the webinar today, we'll follow up with you directly. I'm Chris McMillan, Vice President of National Accounts with Noble Systems. I have been with TouchStar, now Noble, for approximately 8 years. At TouchStar, I was the Director of Sales in charge of all North American sales. At Noble, I am now handling the larger TouchStar accounts collectively. Many of that audience are interested in the other offerings that Noble Systems can provide to help their call centers with automation and call center technology. So I'm bridging that gap and introducing some of the larger TouchStar customers to the Noble product offerings. I'm joined here today by Carl Seffel and Randy Bassick. Carl?
Hi, everybody. I'm Carl Seffel. I'm the Implementations and Support Manager here at the TouchStar portion of Noble TouchStar. I pretty much supervise all the new installations and take any escalation supports for any folks who have an initial problem with any support items they might have, and I'm happy to be here.
Thanks, Carl. And I also have Randy Bassick on the line.
Hello, everyone. It's been a long time. I'm glad to be able to do this with you again. I've been with the TouchStar portion of Noble TouchStar for going on 7 years now. For those of you that are familiar with the past history of these webinars that we used to do with TouchStar, I was the voice of the webinars. I was Director of Training, Director of Consulting Services for TouchStar for many years, and very happy to be with Noble Systems now, and we'll show you our latest and greatest today in the newest offering of the TouchStar 6.0 application. And with that, I'll hand it back to Chris.
All right. Thanks, Randy. Today's agenda, we'll go over a company update, TouchStar 6.0. How can you step up to TouchStar 6.0? We'll introduce a couple different components of the Noble product suite. We'll talk about professional services, support, SNUG 2010. SNUG stands for Special Noble User Group. We'll have a brief wrap-up, and we will conclude with a question and answer session. The company update is 2009 was a strong year. Noble met its financial and sales goals. Noble completed 2 different acquisitions, one being TouchStar, another being TeleDirect, or TDI, as it's well known in the industry. Cross-training and integration of key staff amongst all the new companies. Noble has added over 20% of new employees worldwide, which obviously is making a great impact toward the support, which I'm sure you all have felt. And Noble continues to develop the development of the SMB and enterprise product lines. SMB product lines being AMCAT, TouchStar, TeleDirect, TeleScript, enterprise being Noble Enterprise. With that, Randy, if you'd like to take over, TouchStar 6.0.
Thank you, Chris. Basically, TouchStar 6.0 is an upgrade, so to say, of the TouchStar version 5.7.0. It's based on the same design, based on the same functionality. There's a few additional features to it, but for the most part, it's been reskinned. You'll notice that the applications have a new, sharper look to them. Instead of using the tabbed format that we had in the past, we're using icons or selection criteria on the left-hand side of the pages. The Noble servers, or I should say Noble TouchStar servers, are running pretty much the same as they were, with one exception is instead of as running as a task on your taskbar, they are now running in the task tray. So when they open up, they won't clutter your taskbar. They'll run off to the side, pretty much in the background. We can also start the TouchStar broadcaster application can auto start when your Windows starts. So we can have the sequence of servers start automatically as you are starting up your system. I'm going to move over to the client, or I should say call control now. Call control has, we've got a couple newer screens in here. One of them is a very thorough system information screen. In here you'll get information about what version you're on, system IDs, how many campaigns you're running, lines, and calls that are happening in a very easy to read format. I've got the settings screen over here, which looks a little bit different than the settings of our traditional servers. Instead of having, like I said before, tabs in the drop-down, we now have selections in more or less a menu tab over on the left-hand side. I now move over to our supervisor application. Supervisor application is pretty much the same as it was. As far as the viewability of it and the handling of campaigns and looking at your statistics, it's a bit cleaner now. We're using different fonts. We're using larger fonts. It's more designed for, your Vista or your Windows 7.0 type systems. One of the questions that I got earlier, and I'll answer it right now, about, what sort of platforms will this run on? This will run all the way up to Windows 7.0. It was actually designed on Windows 7.0, and it's made to function all the way back to Windows 2000, 2000 Server, SQL Server 2000, and all points in between. So that was compatible with many of the older systems, but at some point in time, you may want to consider looking at newer hardware. Some of it's fairly old, but it doesn't require any new hardware, any new functionality on your part to be able to go up to 7.0. The dial table has not changed, other than it's got some better readability to it. You can see we're using bars to identify the different campaigns. Same functionality that you had before. In the active call area of Supervisor, we have added an active call summary down on the lower portion of it, where this will give you a real-time display of your current active calls, and then also it'll keep a summary of your maximums during the day. And then also associated with your maximums, it will tell you the date and time stamp, exactly at what point during the day did I reach my maximum number of inbound calls, maximum number of outbound calls, maximum number of previews, so on and so forth. In the history screen, we've now added some graphing capability to go along with your particular campaigns. In this case, I have the ComBlast campaign highlighted, and all of my statistics for that ComBlast campaign are now represented in either a bar or a pie graph format. And it will also give you your number of occurrences of certain statuses within that campaign in a one-shot preview. I've now moved over to the administrator application. In the administrator application, you'll see that we now have rearranged it, where we now have the agent build area at the top. We've moved campaigns to the second area, and we now have dial records in the third area. We have the same functionality in here, except what we've done is we've moved some of the like activities about a particular area onto the same screen. Unfortunately, I'm on slides right now, but when we get farther along and you want to actually get this installed, you will be able to sit in on a live demonstration, a live training class. We'll actually get to see the functionality of this. Got the campaign screen here, and you'll notice on the campaign screen, one of the things that we've moved to the general tab is the campaign message of the day function, which used to be on a tab that was buried all the way at the end of the campaign. So, like I said, we're trying to group like tasks into the same tab within the window that we're working on. Another one of the questions that I had come up from the pre-registration is what's in the administrator application, can we resize these windows? I'm happy to say that the administrator application now has the full resize capability. You can move windows up and down. Some of the functionality that we had where you couldn't see the full list of names or the full list of campaigns, now you can rearrange the size of each of these windows to meet your needs. We also have the capability to resize the entire administrator application, which doesn't seem like it's a major upward move, but it is. Move to the next page, which is the import dial records. We have created all of the import dial record functions onto one page now, where before you had to go to do your table mapping on one page, and then you'd have to go to a second page for your SQL selections. Well, you'll notice we've added the SQL steps here on the lower right-hand corner. The SQL helper button is now where you put your condition statements related to this. You've got your clear and your view. As far as building the SQL statement is now built dynamically, so as you are selecting different areas within this import records, dial records section of administrator, the SQL statement will dynamically build for you. Also within here, the dial build area, we now have two functions that are more or less a menu item, or I should say they were menu items before. They were kind of buried under the dial builder selection in the menu, but these are two very powerful utilities that we have built, and a lot of customers are using it. Some customers don't even know it exists because they're so very deep within the application. We have the macro dial builder, which has the same functionality as we had before, but now it is a selection here under the dial records area where it says schedule import, where this allows you to create templates of your import, assign them to either be run immediately, run at a specific time during the day, or run at a daily time. So like if you're in the collections industry and you are going to do a reload of your records every day, you can automate this, set it up to run on this macro dial builder trigger, and then just hit OK to start it, and then the system will automatically load your records on a daily basis. Another utility that we have here that is a very strong utility is the TouchStar List Manager utility. The List Manager allows you, after the application or after the records are loaded into the campaign, to go into the loaded records and manipulate them, either by making them inactive, or deleting, or moving them from one campaign to another. So these two utilities are now a major function of the dial build area of the system. One of the functions that we have added a lot more muscle to is the do not call section of our application. The do not call section now has a do not call lookup, which not only allows you to look up specific 10-digit phone numbers, but you can use masking in this also, where you can put a wildcard entry. Say you wanted to look up anything with area code 303. If you put 303 in there, it will go through and look up all of your records within the do not call tables that begin with that prefix. So sometimes if you don't have all of the bits of a number that you want to look up, but just a portion of it, sometimes you can do a like lookup within here. Actually, there was a capability to do this in prior versions, but you had to go into SQL to be able to do it. Now we've added this functionality right into this utility for the do not calls. So that's an improvement with our do not call handling capability. We've also added in the recording playback utility, we've embedded the Windows Media Player as far as your playback utility. It gives a cleaner sound, a more modern way to manipulate this. For those of you that are in our newer installations using the TouchStar Dell or HP servers with the NMS technology, all of your recordings now are in WAV format. And that simplifies some of the conversion that we had to do from Vox to WAV. Actually, the older Dialogic technology did allow us to use WAV technology, but it wasn't used very often, mostly because of storage limitations on your servers and some of the other things. As far as this Windows Media Player, we've also embedded it, and you'll see it a little bit later, in our IVR maker for the IVR message playback utility. This is an example of our new IVR maker. The IVR maker has not changed that much other than we now display in what we call dockable or pinup windows. Floating windows over here where we have the play file, which is the message playback utility. We list all the pages as far as before it was a drop down in the menu. We'll list all the pages so they're easier to navigate to. And then also this properties window can be locked here on the right-hand side into this tool area, or you can unlock it and detach it and make it a floating window. The floating window can either be placed in the IVR maker window, or you can actually float it onto your desktop. It doesn't have to be associated inside this window. Another one of the features that we have in the IVR maker is now you'll see that we have movable connector lines, where instead of having a straight point-to-point line, we now have some movable lines where you can reroute the lines to make it easier to identify when you're creating your IVR exactly what your path is. For those of you with some intricate or very sophisticated IVRs, trying to identify from one element to the next where the line goes sometimes is difficult. But with these movable connector lines, you can see that we have arrows and they can do 90-degree angles in the turns, and then we can also add like entries to the same element with these lines. So it doesn't look like a lot on the surface, but for the most part, for those of you that do high developed IVRs, this is a nice new feature. At this portion, what I'd like to do is just show you the new splash screens for the Noble TouchStar Administrator, the Supervisor, and the Agent screen, where most of the changes in version 7 have been made. They've been made to the Agent application. The Agent application now has a nice, clean, crisp look to it. You'll notice where all of your information windows used to be along the top of the screen. They're now to the left-hand side, but they are floating windows, so they don't necessarily have to stay on the left-hand side. Whatever is most convenient for you as far as where the location of this, you can pretty much set your window up to your own desire. We've also got some variations of this. I can have multiple windows open simultaneously. In this case, you'll see along the left-hand side I have my call window, my dial out window, which is for manual dialing. I've got my call transfer window that's available to me. So if any of these functions are, of a need to you on a regular basis, instead of having to click and come into a drop-down with it, they can be exposed to you at all times. I've got the disposition window over here on the right-hand side, and then I've also got some other capabilities within the disposition for callbacks, notes, do not calls, or revenue. And then I've got the send digits screen over here. These can all be open at one time, or you can close them by hitting the X which will shut them down, or you can unpin them and move them anywhere you want, and in some cases you can move them out to your desktop if that's convenient for you. Another new look for the agent application is everything can be displayed in tabs. So along the bottom here, you'll see that I've got dial out, transfer, send digits, which are all in tab format. Over the right-hand side, I've got call disposition, agents, and call progress. One of the things that we kept in the agent application is the backward compatibility with all of the custom applications that you might be using with the agent application. In this case, I'm showing our eSuperscript application, which sits in the browser window. There is no need to reconfigure or redefine any of your existing custom applications to work with version 6.0. As far as the scripts that we provide you with eSuperscript, they're just a standard script. They worked in 5.6.0 or 5.6.4, 5.7.0. They'll work in 6.0. For those of you with custom applications dealing with either the ARC control or the web agent or integrations into CRM systems, there is no difference in the architecture of those applications, and many of those should run in here. Before you do a full version upgrade to 6.0, you'll need to talk with one of our engineers to verify that your application will have no problems running in 6.0. But the basic design of version 6.0 was such that those applications are upward compatible with this new installation. One of the other major features that we also have added to the agent application is a new feature called barging. We've always had the monitoring or whisper coaching capability, but we've added the capability to barge into version 6.0. Version 6.0 is compatible with both the Dialogic platform and the NMS platform. And when I say Dialogic, that means it is compatible with the ISA backplane and the PCI backplanes. The barge feature is actually built into our Prospector application, which is software-driven, and it is compatible in both the Dialogic and the NMS environment. So for those of you that have been asking for barge for a long time, this feature is now there, and it's a nice new feature. As far as SQL, a couple of the questions that I've been asked is, does this new version run with SQL 2008? The answer is yes. SQL 2008 is actually compatible back to our version 5.7.0. And as far as the new version 6.0 for TouchStar, you can run this, like I said before, all the way back to SQL 2000. If some of you that are running back into SQL 7, you will need to upgrade to a newer version of SQL for you to be able to use 6.0. So the next portion of this, so how do I step up to TouchStar 6.0? TouchStar 6.0 is part of your support agreement. If you are current on support, you are eligible to move up to 6.0. Now, see that we have a large number of users on this. I've got over 70 people on the call right now. There will be a great demand to move up. Some of the requirements that we're going to make for this is that a little bit out of the ordinary from the TouchStar upgrades is that we will be offering you training classes and training video that you must take prior to your upgrade. In there, we will go through specific application by application differences between prior versions of 5.6.0 and 5.6.4 and 5.7.0 to the 6.0 platform, and you will be able, you will be required to take a very high-level test on this, just to make sure that you understand the difference between the two. And what we're trying to do is eliminate, some of the repetitive questions coming back to our support department after we do one of these upgrades. There's also the option to do a one-on-one billable hourly training class. So if you want to have some extra hands-on expertise, our training department and myself will be offering one-on-one training classes, which will be, like I said, a short 1 to 2 hour billable application. And for some of you that want real high-level training, we are offering on-site training for one of our trainers or myself to come out to your location and spend, a couple days with you going over your system, showing you the benefits of how to use 6.0 to its maximum efficiency, maybe do retraining for your management or supervisory staff. A lot of cases there's a lot of turnover in call centers where from 1 year to the next you may have some newer people there that may not be totally trained other than word of mouth or just hands-on type training, that some of this higher level training would be very beneficial because you'll be able to understand how to run the system better, and then also ask pretty much any question you want or go in a lot of different directions. The upgrade is based on your existing 5.7.0 version platform. If you are running version 5.6.4, this is totally compatible for you to go from 5.6.4 up to 6.0. What we may need to do as far as the database goes is update your database to 5.7.0 prior to us updating it to 6.0. If you have any other questions regarding your upgrade or how you can get some of this specialized training, please contact your sales account manager, and they can provide you with the information and give you any pricing quotes. Like I said, we will be coming out with a list of training classes that are free of charge. Pretty much an all-comers training class. We will be limiting the number of people per training class to make it beneficial for you, but you will be required, like I said, to take one of these training classes, or someone in your organization will be required to take one of these training classes and pass a simple test on it to make sure that you are understanding the differences between the versions and not have any problems when the new version comes in. So with that, I'm going to pass it back to Chris McMillan, and he will discuss some of the Noble product suites.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Randy. Per what Randy was saying, in order to get to version 6.0, just contact your sales account manager so they can coordinate with you what the most effective delivery will be to get that upgrade to happen. With regards to the Noble product suite, the goal here at Noble is to future-proof your technology as a whole. We do this through continuing to create state-of-the-art product. We do offer a workforce management with Outbound Plus that is fully compatible with TouchStar. This tool basically plugs directly into your agent roster and helps you dictate what type of staffing requirements are necessary per your statistical call volume. If you're a blended environment, workforce management is very helpful. And even if you're an outbound-only environment, depending upon how many schedules you manage, workforce management is an excellent tool to gain some immediate return on investment. We also offer speech analytics, which is real popular specifically in our collections arena. The speech analytics tool helps you with identifying mini Miranda, any type of threatening comments such as sue or please. You can flag those calls immediately so that you can have your Q&A department go back through that call detail. A platform for future Noble products includes WFO with scorecard and screen recording, as well as desktop unification. Similar to the TouchStar agent we were looking at today and how that has come into the modern world with regards to its dockability and its human factors. Desktop unification is always a high priority here at Noble Systems. The product roadmap, obviously, as we talked about earlier, includes both the SMB tools as well as the Noble Enterprise product. The key difference between the TouchStar product offering and the Noble Enterprise product offering would be scalability, as well as other ancillary features. But from a scalability standpoint, the Noble Enterprise architecture allows for literally thousands of agents to be logged into one telephony server, which creates very simple grouping as you experience in TouchStar. For those of you that have well over 100 agents, you have multiple telephony servers. You need to build work groups specific to those telephony servers. By moving up to the Noble Enterprise offering, you now have the ability to manage all work groups within the one telephony environment. I'm going to go back into the Noble Support and Professional Services.
This is Randy Bassick again. For those of you that were familiar with the last year of TouchStar prior to the acquisition by Noble, I had started a new division within TouchStar pertaining to professional services or consulting services. This is where we not only offer you valuable on-site or remote guidance, training, consulting, but we also, for your TouchStar system, but we also offered services as far as, how can you make your call center better? What are some other opportunities? Can we branch into other markets? Are there side types of uses that we can utilize for our system? And in the past year, I actually visited probably 15 or 20 sites worldwide that I went in and performed some of these high-level complete analysis of your call center and workflow type reviews. Happy to say that Noble TouchStar is again offering these services, and they are available if you have some needs for these. You can contact your account manager, and we can arrange to have you get an overview of your system or give you some pricing on how much this costs. We also offer custom IVR routines to help automate your call center. We have some advanced scripting, including web service, HTTP post, CRM integration, and more. We offer dialing and data strategies to customize your business model, multi-tenant systems for expanding your business, database tuning and optimization, automated credit card processing, and then advanced administrator, supervisor, and agent training. So all of that encompasses under the professional services arm for the Noble TouchStar division, and I'm actually proud to say that I've helped many call centers, like I said, in the last couple of years, and I'm looking forward to helping anybody out there that may have some needs for these type of services. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Carl Safel, our Implementations and Support Manager, who will talk about some of our new support offerings.
Thanks, Randy. Hello, everybody. Just a brief word on the TouchStar, Noble TouchStar support system nowadays has definitely been upgraded. We have on-site management now for all our TouchStar support products. We also now have a fully implemented escalation process, which essentially goes to a manager first of the support team. Then I'm actually next in line for major escalations on the TouchStar products. And then from there, you get full documentation and phone numbers for the folks who goes above me to John Blackwell, Chad Hitchcock, and then eventually directly to Jim Noble. So Noble Systems is definitely improved the support of not only the TouchStar products, but of DataTel, SigmaWorks, everything that fell under the TouchStar umbrella. And it now comes with a fully documented escalation process along with all the other Noble products. We found this has been very excellent for our customers. We find that they do like to have a documented process, and they know that if they're not getting the support that they need or they feel that they need a little extra attention, they have a fully documented process to be able to move it up the line through the system and get the results they need. You will be able to get a copy of that full escalation process, I would imagine, through your account manager, or we might be sending out something after the webinar. But essentially, the support process has improved greatly since the Noble acquisition, and we find that our customers like being able to get directly in touch with folks who can help them out. I think that's about it on the support side.
Thanks, Carl. And moving on to the Special Noble User Group Conference and wrap-up. SNUG 2010, April 27th to 29th here in Atlanta. It's at the Westin Hotel about a mile from our office here in North Atlanta. 11 reasons why you should attend SNUG 2010. Number one, operations and best practices sessions make up 75% of the agenda. This isn't only an opportunity to come here and meet all of us that work in the trenches every day and help make things happen for you all, but it's an opportunity to learn from your peers and people that are industry experts. There's going to be all variety of industry represented here. For those of you that attended the TouchStar User Conference in the past, I think from a numbers standpoint, there's about 4 times the volume of attendees here at the Noble User Conference. So for all of us that work here every day, we're certainly thrilled about this conference, and we would welcome you here to Atlanta to see how we do things here at corporate and also these special breakout sessions. There are product-specific sessions for Noble and TouchStar users, as well as eTelescript, AMCAT, and TeleDirect. Future roadmap sessions to discuss TouchStar. We do still have a steering committee. If you are interested in being involved in that steering committee, please contact your sales account manager. They will then escalate it probably to myself, and I'll escalate it to the powers that be so that we can have the right folks included in the product roadmap for the TouchStar product. We will be having focus groups for collections, teleservices, and cable communications. These will be formal focus groups, whereas other industries represented at the conference, there's certainly going to be networking opportunities there as well. We have a keynote speaker, Donna Fluss, who's author of the Real-Time Contact Center, who will be there and able to answer questions. You'll be able to network not only with other TouchStar users, but with Noble users, TeleDirect users, Telescript users, and MCAT users. We will have on-site help desk staff by product professionals for all platforms. For instance, Carl will certainly be involved to be able to meet him if you've not met him before. Randy will be there. I will be there. A lot of our higher-level TouchStar support managers will be there in addition to all other product support managers. We'll have free certification workshops for Noble, TouchStar, and eTelescript, basically product-specific training. We'll have a panel of expert sessions with Noble executives to answer any questions about any of the products. We'll have an opportunity to meet one-on-one and face-to-face with Noble Systems employees and executives, see the entire Noble product line to determine which platform is best for your business. We've obviously touched on that a bit here today. If we can answer any additional questions for you regarding any of our offerings, always feel free to touch base with your account manager, and they can appropriately direct your inquiries. If you register by March 15th, you save $300 off of the show cost. We do have discounted pricing there at the Westin. It's in the perimeter area if you're familiar with Atlanta, so there's probably, I guess, upwards of 20 different hotel choices all within the perimeter area. So feel free to shop around and stay where you're comfortable. And if you would like more information, if you look at any of our emails in correspondence with you as of late, there is this particular URL listed as a hyperlink for more information about the user conference. Wrapping up, Noble Systems certainly strives to be your contact center technology partner, whether it's staying up with the latest, greatest in technology, speech analytics, workforce management, et cetera. We obviously offer those products, and we're very interested in catering to what specifically you're looking to accomplish. TouchStar 6.0 improves key areas for agent productivity. I think we all saw that today in Randy's presentation. Noble offers professional services to improve your operations. I know I can certainly speak to having that with many of you all through the years and being at your sites. There's often a lot of turnover in the call center world, and with that, there's a lot of knowledge that goes out the door with those folks leaving. It's always great to know that Noble, as a partner, is willing to come out, spend time with you on site, look at exactly how you do business, document your best practices, and make sure the system's running as designed and most efficiently. Keeping your call centers up time with Noble support. I think many of you I've already heard from and that you recognize the value of Noble acquiring the pre-existing TouchStar support desk. I think it's a lot more formalized now. It's a lot easier to track trouble issues and get resolution. And a lot of the credit goes to Carl and his team for helping us identify our weaknesses and alleviate those. Again, please come to SNUG. The conference offers insight into the industry best practices and latest technology. You also get an opportunity to meet everyone that you're talking to on the phone frequently. So we would certainly love to see you there. Now we're going to go into questions and answers. We've got several questions here this afternoon. A lot of them I think we've already covered. I'm going to just skim through here and make sure there's nothing we didn't cover.
This is Randy Bassick again. I just want to thank you for your time today. Hopefully all of this has been very beneficial to you. And for your information, I also have Raymond Stover here with me sitting in my office. And many of you are familiar with Raymond being a longtime support guru for TouchStar, and now he's performing a lot of major functions in the training area, and a lot of the services that we talked about before, Raymond will be sharing the load with me to be able to provide them.
Good day, everyone.
Thanks, Randy. Thanks, Ray. We got a question here. Does barging turn off the beep in the headset when a call is routed to the agent?
I'll answer that. This is Randy. Barging is basically just an extension of the coaching function. The coaching function where you are talking to your agents, when you hit the barge feature, now what happens is it doesn't turn the beep off in the headset, but now the manager or the person that's doing the coaching is now part of that call. So essentially it's like a three-way call. Two of the connections are through your agent side applications, and the third connection is through the customer phone line connection. So as far as does it turn off the beep, it doesn't, but the beep won't be present when a barging takes place. So the person that does the barging has to announce themselves being on the call at that moment, so the customer on the other end will know that a third party has been added to the call.
Thanks, Randy. We got another question here. Are structural changes to the database required to run version 6.0?
No, there are no structural database changes. There are some additional fields within tables that are required, and depending on what sort of applications that you're using, you may add a couple additional tables, but there's no major structural difference in your database between version 5.7.0 and TouchStar version 6.0. It's always advised before we do one of these upgrades is that we do a full backup of your existing database, but there isn't a major database update build for 6.0, but there are some small field changes that add some additional functionality and data collection that exists in 6.0.
Great. Thanks, Randy. Another question here. Is it possible to upgrade to the agent application without upgrading the rest of the applications?
I'll take that one. Actually, the TouchStar 6.0 agent software is compatible with the 5.7.0 components except for Broadcaster. So it would be possible to run the agent software 6.0 as long as the Broadcaster application on the server was updated. The reasoning for that is because of new 6.0 functionality, it has to have additional connections to Broadcaster so that it can do the right thing. So essentially, to run Agent 6.0, you need Broadcaster 6.0, but if there was a specific reason for leaving behind older versions of Agent Server and Call Control, it could be done. Most likely not a recommended path to go down, but it is possible.
Thanks, Carl. Another question here. Has there been any update to the reporting function, glossary, to understand what you're looking at?
The TouchStar reporter has not changed. there's a new version of TouchStar Reporter that gives you some added functionality in relation to appointment setting and appointment setting reports, but the reporter has not changed in functionality at all.
Someone has asked us to again go over the upgrade path. They're currently running version 5.6.4 on Windows 2000 servers.
Sure. The upgrade path basically is that we can take you from 5.6.4 all the way up to 6.0. We may need to do an intermediary step to update your database to 5.7.0, but that would just be a transparent portion of the upgrade. You can move from 5.6.4 to 6.0 without any problems. As far as, like I mentioned before, the version of SQL that you're running, you can run that on SQL 2000, SQL 2005, and it will be compatible with SQL 2008. As far as your servers go, the question also included Windows Server 2000. As far as Windows 2000, it will run on Windows Server 2000, but for those of you that are in that environment, you're probably already aware that the Microsoft has discontinued support for Server 2000. So if you're going to make this upgrade, now might be a good time to go through and reevaluate where you're at with not only your version, but also your hardware. And, you know, if you're going to go up to the newer version of TouchStar, maybe this would be a good time to consider upgrading your servers, maybe your hardware or the operating systems on the servers at that time.
Yeah, I totally agree with Randy on that. In most cases of a 5.6.4 upgrade, we do like to do a system evaluation prior to actually scheduling any upgrades. Normally this is because any 5.6.4 is running on older hardware, and we'll find that people have less, memory in their systems or that kind of thing. So we do like to ensure that the existing hardware for 5.6.4 systems is sufficient to run the newer builds, which are a little bit more memory intensive, and just by their nature, those older systems are older and don't necessarily have the required capacity for upgrading to some of the 5.7.0 and 6.0 builds. So, but yes, as long as the hardware and everything is compatible, there is no problem, but we do like to do a system evaluation before scheduling and performing upgrades from 5.6.4.
Thanks, guys. We got another question here. Is there any plan to phase out the Dialogic cards?
Right now, go ahead, Carl.
I would just say absolutely not. All the software that you're looking at here is totally compatible with all Dialogic software and hardware that we've ever installed. We are moving forward, obviously, as most folks know, into the NMS platform, but everything that we've built all the way up to 6.0 is fully backward compatible with any Dialogic hardware that's in the field at the moment.
And I would add to that there's a key advantage to moving toward the NMS platform, and that your agent connection can now come via a SIP session, so that it doesn't require the paired copper connection that is traditionally required for those Plantronics T10s. So I think there's a huge advantage there. And also, the call progress analysis in the NMS card is much more advanced than the traditional ISA and PCI Dialogic cards, meaning ideally we're going to get you much better answering machine detection, and we can certainly put you in touch with folks that have made the migration from Dialogic to NMS, and they could certainly attest to their greater productivity in answering machine detection.
This is Randy Bassick again. I'd like to add another addition to the portion that I mentioned before as far as upgrading from different versions, different operating systems, and different servers. One of the requirements that we had before is that before we would do an upgrade, we would require a complete performance monitor survey of your system. In most cases, that's probably a very good suggestion. When you originally purchased your equipment, your call center may have been, at one level of operation, and through the years, most call centers have grown, and because of that, you may be putting strain and added processes on your system that you didn't have at the time of the original installation. So one of the suggested things when we do an upgrade is to perform this performance monitor survey to make sure that if we move you up to a new version,